Number 5 is Sonic Generations. Now, when this game was first announced, I was already mega hyped because I'm just a huge Sonic fan like that. And when I finally sat down and played it, I was a little bit underwhelmed. Let me start with some stuff I really did like about this game though. Number 1 is the soundtrack. But at the same time, it's a Sonic soundtrack, so I don't really need to go into detail about it. I mean, it's Sonic and music. I mean, they just work perfectly together. One of my only complaints though is that it's just a remix of a lot of past Sonic songs, which isn't a bad thing, but I like soundtracks that can get me introduced to new material and all that stuff. Another thing I really like about this game is the graphics. The graphics in this game just shine, especially on Sky Sanctuary and Planet Wisp. With the HD remakes that those levels got, they look beautiful, and they're so much fun to replay because of it. Also, the sense of nostalgia I get from playing like Chemical Plant, especially City Escape, and Speed Highway for the most part. I mean, just the nostalgia comes flowing back into me, and it's like vitamins. Another thing I really loved about this game was the boss fights. I mean, honestly, the boss fights in this game, each one is incredibly fun to replay, especially a few, like Metal Sonic, the Shadow boss fight, which is my personal favorite, the Death Egg Robot, Perfect Chaos. I mean, those are really, really good boss fights. Compared to the final boss, which is a complete piece of crap and is one of the worst video game bosses I have ever fought. Now, one of the major downsides about this game is the story. Now, honestly, story in Sonic games are always hit and miss, really. The last good Sonic story, in my honest opinion, was Sonic Unleashed, because I really got connected to Chip and all the stuff that went on during that. But, like, Black Knight, and then especially Sonic Colors, didn't really have a good story. And this one doesn't barely have any story at all, and it's very underwhelming, especially for an anniversary title, because I was really expecting them to go back and make fun of a lot of stuff that the past Sonic games did. Only for like one joke or two, they really don't do anything. And a lot of the missions too that you had to do, just to get keys to fight the boss fights, felt like padding and just trying to make the game longer when it's incredibly short. Really short. This game's about 4 or 3 hours long, I'm not kidding. And also the amount of levels in this game is very underwhelming. I mean, all the trailers that showed off all the levels, that's what you got. You don't have, like, Kingdom Valley, you don't have the Hang Castle from Sonic Heroes, you don't have the Final Rush from Sonic Adventure 2. Honestly, it's very underwhelming, and I just did not like that. I mean, this game needs DLC. It needs DLC more than anything, in my honest opinion. I mean, the amount of levels in this game does not justify an anniversary title, and I mean, I just would love to see at least an announcement sometime in the future of some DLC coming to this game, because if not, I'm going to go and say that this is going to be one of my least favorite Sonic games, at least all the hype I set for it. I mean, with the amount of content that you get in this game, just doesn't match up to what a true Sonic game should be. I mean, with Sonic Colors, you had, you know, you didn't have that many levels, but at the same time you had so many different variations of the levels you played. Well, this game plays the same no matter what level you pick, and I don't know, I guess that's kind of one of the reasons why I just felt underwhelming, and that is why I'm going to put Sonic Generations at number 5.
Why are you here? Why do the English cross the Rub al-Khali?
They're looking for the lost city of Ubar.
Iram of the Pillars. If they find Iram, we are all dead.
And number 4 is Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Now, here's a funny little thing. This was my very first Uncharted game, and it was all thanks to my brother when he got the PS3 Uncharted 3 bundle that I actually got to play this game, because I wasn't going to pick it up because I just didn't care for Uncharted. And, you know, I played it, and I was really liking it. You know, I heard people criticize this game, blah 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 this, blah 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 that, but I was just letting myself have fun, and I ended up really, really liking this game. In fact, it made me want to go out and buy Uncharted 2 and 1, and I did, and I have beaten both. And I gotta say, I think Uncharted 2 is my favorite in the series. Here's why. Because Uncharted 2 to me got the blending aspect perfectly. It had a great story, just absolutely phenomenal story. The atmosphere couldn't be any more better than it is in that game. And also, just the characters. I mean, yeah, there's not as many characters as Uncharted 3 had, but at the same time, you know, you have all these funny moments with Drake and Chloe and Elena, and then when you compare it to Uncharted 3, yeah, they try to have some good moments in there, like, you know, the opening scene where you're fighting in the bar. That's actually one of my favorite parts of the game. And then compared to Uncharted 2, you know, Uncharted 3 has a lot of memorable moments, don't get me wrong, like the you're in the desert, and then the bar opening scene. But Uncharted 2 to me has many more atmospheric moments that just really stand out to me. But Uncharted 3, I will give it this: it is the most realistic looking game I have seen to date. It impresses me to just how much Naughty Dog has improved since Crash Bandicoot. I was just amazed pretty much everywhere I looked. There's so much detail put into this. It is so hard to ignore. But there's a few things about Uncharted 3 though that I just don't like, besides it not being better than 2. Number one is the villains. I mean, Uncharted itself doesn't have a lot of good villains. Really, the only villain I actually liked out of the entire trilogy was the 1 and 2. I can't remember his name. It was like Lieutenant something, because he was just really threatening, and he knew what he was getting into the moment he got to the whole mystical being thing that all the Uncharted games do. But Uncharted 1 and 3, they don't know what they're doing for the most part, and really, Uncharted 3's villain, the whole evil woman with the man supporting her and all that, I don't mind women as villains, but they really have to be fleshed out if they're going to be, memorable, and really, the villain in this game is just highly forgettable. I mean, she is satisfying when she that's about it, and yeah, spoiler alert, sorry. But another thing that I did not like about this game is the lack of enemy variations. I mean, honestly, this was heavily flawed in Uncharted 1, but it's just as guilty as in Uncharted 3. It's honestly, watch the opening scene where you fight that one heavy dude in the bar, and then count how many times you will encounter that same enemy type throughout the game. It just seems to me like a very lazy move pulled on by Naughty Dog. But other than that, Uncharted 3, really good game. Wish they could have fixed some stuff from 2, but I'll take what I can get. So, Uncharted 3, number 4.
In a world where imagination is king, an ancient evil stirs to threaten the very survival of the cosmos. They call it the Negativatron. But what can stop the unstoppable? This world needs only one thing. It needs a hero. Shoshavalon. One man, devilishly handsome, impossibly statuesque, the only hope.
Stop it!
Number 3 is Little Big Planet 2. I was a huge fan of Little Big Planet 1, and when Little Big Planet 2 was announced, I could not wait. But sadly, I did not get this game for the entire 11 months that it was out. And finally, when I picked it up, I kind of hated myself for not playing it sooner, because this game is the most creative thing I've ever seen in any mass media. Whatever you want to create, you can do. You want to create a first-person chess game. I don't know how you would do it, but I'm sure there's a way you could. There's a skydiving game you can play. There's races. There's just... possibilities are endless in this, and it's just so amazing, and you cannot ignore something with this amount of effort that gets put into this type of game. So let me start with the stuff I really like about this game. But I'm going to be mostly talking about, by the way, the levels made by the actual designers, not the online community, as much as impressive as it is. I will give props to the designers that the level design in this game beats the shit out of the first one. Because looking back at it, Little Big Planet 1, while impressive, some of its, just regular levels weren't as fun as, say, some of the online levels. But in this one, they're at the right mix. There are levels that are really, really fun to play, and then there are levels that I just really do not like to play. And also, because it's Little Big Planet, I have to bring this up, is the co-op. This game is possibly, if not my second favorite co-op game I have ever played. I mean, I just did it out of sheer curiosity. I remember I just went on a level on the story mode and just said, okay, we'll play with someone, and my god, the amount of fun I had. I didn't have my mic on, so I wasn't talking to him or anything, but just the experience alone, it was like 4 players in just one little story scene, and it was so awesome to play. We fought boss battles and all that stuff. It was... I can't express how much fun I had during that time. Another thing this game has over its predecessor is a good story. Little Big Planet 1 kinda had a story, but it was very, very toned down. This time around, you actually get cutscenes with well-done voice acting and hilarious characters. And they're just pretty memorable in all the right way. really, characters in this game are just incredibly hilarious. Don't even get me started on Da Vinci. I love Da Vinci in this game. Him and the notepad guy. But there's only a few things that's keeping Little Big Planet 2 from being a little bit higher, and most of that is just some of the repetition that is in this game. Number one is the graphics. The graphics in this game feel and look like the same to me as Little Big Planet 1. I'm sure you probably could disagree with that, but to me they just look the same. And another thing that really pissed me off, I don't know if it was my account or if it was something else, but I couldn't import all my old costumes I made in Little Big Planet 1, which I made some really good costumes. I had a Mario one, I had a Jiraiya one, I had like just a lot of costumes that I would really love to see in this, but nope, I only have the ones that came with the bonus disc, and I'm not saying they're bad, but I really would love to have been able to play as a Mario character or something like that. And also, the music in this game isn't as good as the first one, because the first Little Big Planet game had a lot of good tunes that I really did love. Little Big Planet 2, though, only has a couple of soundtracks that I can actually say off the top of my head. Most notably the main theme, which I am completely in love with. But other than that, the only biggest flaw with this game, to me, is replayability. It's one of those things like, this is a game made for the time it was released. As years go and come, you know, the replay value of this game is going to slowly drop. It's not dropping as fast as, you know, you might think it is, but it's still dropping a little bit. But the community is still large, and you know what? If you still want to be able to play this game, get it now, because sooner or later the community may just be gone, and, you know, I would be sad for people not to be able to experience this kind of game, where the co-op is just the fundamental of the game. So Little Big Planet, while a good sequel, just doesn't have as much as I'd like it to have in order to make it to number 2.